Please join me in welcoming Dr. Shirley Davis.
Morning, everyone. Yes, I am one. Awesome. What an honor to be here with you and to actually be back in my hometown. I actually lived in, grew up in, went to college, University of Maryland. I went to high school, elementary school here as well. But just about a year ago, I moved to the sunny, beautiful, year-round, warm weather, by the beaches, Tampa Bay area. And I'm really loving it, but it's great to be back here because this is where my family still is and a lot of my friends as well. So I'm honored to talk to you today about an important topic of what's happening in the global changing workforce and how so many companies are really having to shift and innovate and reinvent themselves because of some of the major disruptions that are happening in the global workforce. So I'm going to share just a little bit about it because I only have an hour. But there's so much more that we're doing in my organization, as you may have heard in the introduction, is SDS Global, which is Strategic Development Solutions. And with my 30-year history and experience in human resources, I work with organizations around the world, Fortune 100, Fortune 50, multinational corporation, heads of state governments, as well as even government agencies, on how then to build high-performing, inclusive, diverse, and welcoming organizations that not only prepared for today's changing global workforce, but the workforce of 2030. So I'm going to share with you just a little bit of what actually is a full-day course and sometimes 2 days. So bear with me. I'm going to go through some stories, some statistics, some realities, as well as some strategies on what are some of the things that we have to face. First of all, I think we can all agree is that we are living in an era of disruption. You hear a lot of analysts and you hear economists coin this term. It's a business term. But if you are not a disruptor, you become disrupted, right? So if you are not really looking at how things are changing in the global workforce, in the marketplace, and what impacts they have inside of your workplaces, and even in our personal lives, if we don't become more proactive and aggressive in becoming a disruptor, we will get disrupted. Think about some of the companies that no longer exist who actually were a victim of being disrupted. One of the major disruptors, I think most of us can agree, is Amazon. Is a major disruptor. Because Amazon is putting so many companies out of business who did not anticipate the changes of the times. So today, Amazon can deliver to you your new dress, your new shoes, your beautiful bags in a matter of 2 hours, right, with a drone. So who's closing 100 stores around the country? Macy's. Who else have they been really disrupting? Think about bookstores, where now you can buy books or download books, or you can read them on Kindle through Amazon. What's the last time I would say, how many of you have gone to Blockbuster to buy a DVD? Yeah, because Blockbuster actually years ago had an opportunity to purchase Netflix for $4 million. And they didn't think that that was going to be a disruptor because who's going to stream movies and TV live? And so now Netflix is a disruptor, or they were a disruptor, but who's disrupting them now? Amazon. Right, so remember there was all these streaming live, and now you can go Facebook Live, and now who else is allowing live? Amazon. So Amazon is a major disruptor, along with so many other technology companies, where you have to really think about your business strategy, and not only that, how is that going to impact you in the future? So we're living in this era of disruption, and I also call this a VUCA world. Not a new term, another business term. A VUCA world, a world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. We talk a lot about that, the ever-changing world. Peter Drucker, who was a major management leadership guru, said we're living in the era of the 3 C's, where there's accelerated change, there's overwhelming complexity, and increased competition. So think about the demographics and how it's shifting globally. Everything today from religious diversity, now we've got so much of that coming into the workplace because people hold close to their personal values, their personal belief systems that are oftentimes tied to their religion or their faith, as well as their culture. People with disabilities. Research and studies tell us that around the world, that people with disabilities accounts for about 10% of the world's population. And it's continuing to grow as we become a graying society. And you think about others like LGBTQ. We now have 54 countries around the world that have anti-discrimination laws. And we know that that's a national part of our conversation now. And we're having some of those same issues and challenges even in our workplaces around benefits and policies. And how do we have conversations around that issue of sexual orientation or sexual identity, or who gets to use what bathroom, or how do we make certain accommodations, as well as the fact that we are a virtual, mobile, and hyper-connected society. 40% now of workers are working part-time or either working virtually or mobilely. How many of you have workers that are not always right there in the workplace, that are virtual, that are mobile, and that are part-time? And that's an additional challenge. How do you keep them engaged? How do you continue to ensure you're able to manage performance and that they're able to stay connected? And then we've got others like women, people of color, and generations, which are probably three of the most significant changes and challenges that organizations are facing in today's global workforce. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about those three.